Hello and what's up everybody? For those of you that don't know us, we're Luke and Alysha, and right now we're currently in the middle of RVing the Pacific West in our Class C RV.
We asked you guys in a couple videos ago to submit your questions for us and we do a Q&A with you guys. So you guys asked a bunch of questions about RVing, about our life, just about everything. So we're gonna see how many questions we can get through today. I'm sorry if we don't get to your question, but this might take a while.
But with that being said, let's jump into the first question and dive into it.
Okay, so the first question we got here, we got literally so much and we get it constantly, and it's probably like one of our #1 asked questions, but it's how do you find all of your free camping?
Yeah, last year we did over 100 days on the road east across Canada and back, and I think we only paid for 5 or 7 nights across the whole trip, so a whole lot of free camping there. This year we've done a lot of free camping as well. A little bit more provincial parks here in BC, but we do quite a bit of boondocking and free camping, and we're going to share a few of the tips to help you out with it.
So one of the first things we generally look at when we're looking for a free camping spot is some of the apps that we have. So we have iOverlander and freecampsites.net, which is actually just a website, not an app. But we check those sites because they're community-driven sites, so users will actually enter their free campsites and review about it and some pictures about them as well. And it's just a really good starting point to look and see at where other people have stayed and if there's anything that we'd like to stay at.
Yeah, if you see something already on there and it looks like it's a good spot, I mean, people are basically telling you, hey, you can camp here for free. And if it looks good, you might as well take their word and go check it out at least.
One thing that we do keep in mind a lot though when using those apps is once a location is on there, it can get very, very popular. A lot of people use those apps and a lot of people are going to the spots that are posted there, especially if they're really nice looking sites.
Yeah.
So if we think it's going to be a really popular place and crowded with people, we generally stay away from those places just because, I mean, if you are overusing a spot, if other campers and you are both overusing it, if there's litter being left there, if it's causing a disturbance like within city limits or something, or local communities, then it's definitely going to get a no camping sign and the residents there aren't going to enjoy it, and I don't know, we just feel really bad overusing spots. So we try and keep that in mind when looking at these spots that are on the apps as well.
Yeah. With that being said then though, one that we do a lot more of the time lately, and that we've gotten pretty good at if we do say so ourselves, I would think, is looking for Forest Service roads in the area, which is basically Crown land or BLM land down in the United States, kind of government citizen owned land. So we look for those roads. And another thing, we did it for example recently even here when we needed to have a little free camping work day, is if you just go to the Google Maps in the area you're at, click satellite view, you're going to get a good overlay of all of the land, and then just look for some of the abandoned roads that would most likely already be a Forest Service road. Look for the abandoned road, take it down, and sometimes you'll see clear cuts or you'll see little dirt roads that are just, they don't connect anything, they just kind of dive off into the forest. And if you can find a pull out off of an already abandoned road down an even more dead-end abandoned road, that's usually a guaranteed shoe-in. We had really good luck with that recently here, so that is one thing to look for as well.
If you haven't already looked at the satellite view in Google Maps, I bet you'd be surprised because if you zoom in on an area, you can literally see where turnouts are and some clear cuts where it's obviously a camping spot. Like, people have obviously gone there because it's just kind of like a dead-end circle spot at the end of a road, and you'd be surprised what you can find on Google Maps.
And then one way you can go even further, it doesn't always work on Forest Service roads, it'd be more just in kind of semi-rural locations, but even dragging the little man for Google Street View, you can put that on the road, and then you actually have a car's image of a vehicle driving down the road that takes the footage, and you can pan around and actually look at what that pole would look like, if it's steep, if there's going to be a gate, because some of these roads do have gates in the way, so we've used it with Street View and we can actually see if there's going to be a gate in the way. But if you kind of combine either those apps, Forest Service roads, and satellite view with Street View, you're going to find something in the area.
Oh, one other thing in BC is we have this website, it's for recreation sites. So some of the recreation sites are cheaper, like maybe $12 or $15, but a lot of them are actually free. So you can actually go and find these places on the map, click in them, like see the pictures, and it's a really good spot to find some free spots as well.
One thing I always do keep in mind when we're going free camping if you're gonna have to drive 40 minutes out of your way there and back just to get a free camping abandoned site, I value our time driving in the RV just with gasoline at probably $30, if not $35 Canadian. So if you're gonna be driving for an hour or more, you're already paying more than you're gonna pay at a provincial park or a recreation site. So sometimes by paying more, you're actually gonna save more. So that's a little pro strat as well for you.
So the next question is from Gary Miller. They ask, how did you get started? And for 2 younger people, how do you afford the RV full-time lifestyle? And do you work remotely?
Basically, the way we got the money to start this whole RV adventure was during schooling, we had roommates for a total of 4 years. So we kind of were always able to save up a bit of money splitting down costs and expenses with roommates. And then when we were ready to move out on our own from roommates, we had enough money to put down on a condo down payment in Kelowna. And just from getting a condo, our mortgage payment was honestly probably cheaper than rent would have been in the Okanagan. So we had affordable mortgage payments, which allowed us to build up equity over a couple of years. And the Okanagan real estate market got super hot, so we sold our house for not only a good appreciation value, but we had basically 3 years worth of equity built up as well. So with that combined, that bought our RV outright for us and basically financed that little bit of Asia travels we did. We tried to go to the USA, but we'll get into that instead later here. And then otherwise, that was what funded our first year of travels. And then for the previous winter, we actually had to work and save up, and we stayed with family as well over that time.
So yeah, we were lucky enough to, I don't know, have the housing market kind of go crazy and be able to sell during that crazy time too, which was a huge struggle, but it ended up going through. And seriously, we just feel so grateful that we were even able to buy an RV. Yeah,
the cards played really well, and we managed to play a good hand, I guess, on that one, but it worked out really well in our favor.
And as far as working remotely, we actually don't have any remote jobs. That would be like a huge bonus to being able to actually go full-time. But as of right now, we don't have any work that we're doing remotely. We're just solely focusing on making YouTube videos and then going back during the winter to work and save up for summer travel, which honestly in Canada kind of works out, because unless we were to go down to the States for the entire winter, we wouldn't be able to be RVing in Canada anyways during the winter, so I guess you may as well work.
Yeah, at best you'd be able to stay at an RV pad somewhere, but you wouldn't be traveling all over in the snow, so it works out well for us.
Okay, so the next question we have here is from Big Beta. He asks, do you have a name for your RV? So the short answer to this question is no, we actually don't have a name for our RV.
Yeah, we used to call it Irvy every now and then, like Irvy, the RV. And then Travels with Yoli once suggested the Beast. We kind of liked that because it is quite the beast. We've done quite the Forest Service Road driving in it and been on quite the amount of adventures with it, but we haven't settled on that. We once got recommended Bernie. That was a pretty cute name, but nothing has actually stuck with us yet. We do have a cat named Cat, go figure, so I mean, maybe names aren't our strong suit, but...
Yeah, I would say probably not our strong suit. But I do really want to hear what you guys have to suggest. Maybe one of the suggestions down in the comments below we'll pick for the name for our RV. And yeah, I don't know.
You could help us decide an official name, perhaps, everyone out there.
Okay, so next question here is from Jen Maxuga. She asks, Alysha, how do you meal plan while RVing? Do you come up with ideas on the spot, or do you plan ahead?
And this was also addressed to Alysha, but definitely her wheelhouse. Take it away.
So I definitely do probably like 90% of the cooking. If like I'm busy editing or busy with something else, Luke will definitely take over and make a meal. But it's actually like a huge hobby of mine to cook and just like watching cooking things, and I don't know, I love cooking anyways. But to answer your question, I don't meal plan really at all, I would say. I mean, when I go to the grocery store, I kind of have an idea of like the style of meals that I want to make for like the next week, and that'll kind of determine what ingredients I buy at the grocery store. But I don't know, I kind of like to play it by ear and just make up things on the spot, and people always ask me for my recipes for what I make, and I feel so bad because like, I don't know, probably 80% of the time I don't even follow a recipe, and if I do follow a recipe, I'm not following the recipe. Like, I'm just kind of using it as a guideline on kind of ratios to use and what they used, and I'll definitely add and substitute and just eyeball measurements.
A pinch of this, a little handful of that.
Exactly. And I've actually gotten a lot of suggestions from you guys too to make like an RV cookbook, which I actually think is a really good idea and maybe on the horizons. Not anytime soon, but it's an idea in the back of my head. Alright, so next question here is from Bruce Moore. They ask, do you have trouble finding potable water to fill your fresh water tank? Do you have a problem finding dumping stations? And do you have any problems driving your RV into tourist attractions that can accommodate your rig? So as far as being able to find sandy stations and potable water at those sandy stations, we really don't have that much of a problem. When we went across Canada for those 100 days, I don't even think we really had a problem finding a sandy dump station at all. Sometimes those sandy stations won't have potable water, but they will have like rinse water. But yeah, I would say generally no, and especially this year in BC, because a lot of the provincial parks that we go to actually have a sandy dump station at the park. So that's always like a good go-to. Otherwise we use sandydumps.com. That's a really good site for finding free sandy dump stations for the area that you're in. And also they have marked on there like paid versions and different campsites that have sandy dump stations, so in a pinch you could go to one of those as well.
And then as for parking at different tourist attractions and that sort of thing, honestly, being a 23-foot motorhome, I would say that's about on the sweet spot where you can get away with almost anything a B or like a van could. Obviously we're a little bit bigger, but if we're at a parking stall, say in a Walmart or any kind of bigger complex, you can easily fit in a pull-through stall. So if you can find 2 stalls in the back, you can drive right on in the middle of that, no problem. Perhaps you can find a stall at the very back of the parking lot. If you don't want to park parallel, you're going to fit in it widthwise. An RV has to fit into the road dimensions required, so you fit in the stall widthwise. Perhaps there's even a curb you can back up over or a ditch, because our tires come, basically right back to where I am right now. And everything all back there is basically our bed space and everything. That means you can keep rolling all the way back until your tires right here hit either the little teeny curb or the sidewalk spot, and then this will all overhang, and then you actually fit nicely into a single parking stall. I know last year when we were in like the capital city Regina of Saskatchewan, we went to an Anytime Fitness in a big plaza, and I fit in the corner in one tiny little car size stall, and it was honestly not that much of a problem. You get the hang of it really quick. Before RV life, we even never had a truck. We were always car drivers in cities, and switching to the Class C RV, I didn't honestly have that much of a problem. Once you get behind the wheel, it just kind of is self-explanatory, and I found it took over really fast for me at least.
I was trying to think of like when the last time we found somewhere that we wanted to go but we wouldn't be able to park there, and I would say probably the only time would be in like busy downtown areas, like the downtown core. For example, when we were in Quebec City, we didn't want to drive this thing down into downtown Quebec at all. Other than that, I feel like it pretty much goes anywhere.
Yeah, and I would say in those situations though, yes, it was hard to try and imagine finding parking for the RV, but I think it was such a busy destination that you would have had a hard time trying to find parking in a car even. It's not that the RV was the limiting factor, it's just that we were in such a busy area with like basically no parking for any vehicles. I wouldn't necessarily attribute that to the RV itself.
Alright, so next question here is from Massey Quintero. They ask, where do you keep the cat's litter box? So we actually had this question from quite a few people, and it's a common question I feel like for RVers that have a cat, is where the heck do you put the litter box?
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know us very well yet, alright, see you later. We travel with a cat in our 23-foot Class C RV as well. And I mean, the litter box, honestly, it's a pretty simple answer. We just keep it in the shower, and we take it out when we need the shower. Our shower's probably only about this wide anyway, so the litter box really doesn't have any room to slide around. Not that it even does with the weight of the kitty litter in it. And other than that, yeah, we just leave it in there, out of sight, out of mind.
And like, it's kind of nice that it's in the bathroom, so it doesn't like really smell in any other area, and it's really easy to also sweep out just like the shower basin and keep it clean in there, and it's a really good solution. Yeah,
honestly we haven't had any problems with that yet, I don't think. No. And then we just take her food and water when we're parked somewhere, and that's RV travel with a cat, nice and simple.
Alright, so the next question comes from AJD777. They ask, how much time do you spend editing and filming videos combined? For instance, how much does an average 10-minute video take you to complete filming and editing? And also, what type of equipment do you use to film? So it's kind of hard to say how long it takes to film and edit a video. Filming, we honestly just do that throughout the day. It's kind of just like a follow us and whatever we do. So I don't think filming really takes much time. It's just filming what we're doing in that day.
Yeah.
As far as editing though, I would say a 10-minute video would probably be like 4 to 6 hours of editing. I don't know, I really haven't timed myself lately on how long it takes me to edit a video, and our videos have actually been getting longer and longer, like probably closer to 20 minutes.
Yeah, wow.
So, I don't know. Short answer, it takes a really long time to edit a video. Luke's been helping me though with transferring footage off of all of our different SD cards, so it does save me a lot of time, which is very good.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say it varies for her too, based on if it's something where it's hanging out at a campsite versus if we have all sorts of driving cinematic shots and dash cams and drone footage. The more stuff you have to kind of weave together too, of course, the more that goes into it, so yeah. It varies.
As far as equipment that we use a couple of different things. Our main filming camera is a Canon EOS M6 Mark II. We also have like a secondary camera, which we hardly use anymore, but that's the DJI Osmo Pocket, and it's just this tiny little camera with a little gimbal on the end, and it's really, really good for traveling and easy to fit in your pocket. A nice thing to use once in a while. Maybe
a bumpy Forest Service road with the gimbal every now and then.
Yeah.
We did also use the Pocket for all of our travels last year, the DJI Osmo Pocket. That's what we used going across Canada to Newfoundland and back, so if you're watching any of our old playlists and checking out last year's RV adventures, that's why you'll notice the slight difference in quality this year versus last year. And then the drone we use, a few of you have asked for as well, it's the DJI Spark. And it's the first year, I believe the second year edition is now also out, but a nice entry-level drone, takes 1080p, stabilizes itself with GPS in the air. We bought a little controller kit that comes with it, so honestly, up is up, forward's forward, down is down. Super simple to fly, even if you've never used the drone before. It's a great entry-level drone, and it's nice. I think that would be one of the things we'd like to upgrade someday, just for a bit crisper quality of drone footage, but as you can see, it does a great job for our needs right now, at least.
Yeah, we purchased it a couple years ago, and when we did purchase it, it was one of the cheapest, I think probably the cheapest drone that you could buy with like a camera that records video and all that kind of stuff. So definitely like a beginner drone, but yeah, that's what we use.
Yeah.
And then for any like action stuff or underwater stuff, we use our GoPro. I think it's a Hero 4. It's one of the older ones on that one, but
it works. We don't swim that often.
And I think that's about it for filming equipment. I mean, we have like a tripod and microphone, but I think that's about it for equipment. Okay, so the next question we have here is from B-Rad. He asks, what do you aim to be doing in the next 2 to 5 years with RV life? And are you aiming on full-time RVing?
So the short answer to that one is, we honestly don't have a whole lot of plans. We kind of have been winging every year. We save up and then do a little bit of fun stuff what we're able to save up with and make do with the resources we have at disposal. So as the years progress, we'll see what we can figure out, but no long-term plans right now.
Yeah, we honestly don't even know what we're going to be doing after this summer, so I don't know, planning isn't something that we're super excited about because things change so quickly and you never know what's going to happen, so.
Yeah, if a good opportunity comes knocking, we're looking for it though, and I'm sure we'll capitalize when it's the time.
And as far as if we want a full-time RV, as in like year-round, I mean, we are living in this thing as long as we possibly can in Canada, not through the winters, but if we are able to get to the States to be able to snowboard during the winter, and if we have the funds to be able to do that, that's something that we definitely would say no to. I mean, that would be amazing. But again, that's not in the plans for right now because we don't have the funds to do it.
Yeah. With all of that being said though, that is actually going to tie into the next question we're going to address here as well for you all.
So the next question we actually got from a lot of people, and it's a very common question, probably the second most common question we get
all the time,
is will you try and cross the border again into the US, and are you coming to the United States?
Like we said previously, we don't really have any current future plans for it. However, we do want to if possible someday, so with job situations lining up, or if we have some kind of way that we can tie ourselves back to Canada and easily cross the border, then that would become more of an option to actually keep the border guards happy. If you haven't seen, one of our earliest videos on YouTube is actually getting denied at the US border, so this is kind of a little bit of a ongoing question people have for us since we did get denied actually at the USA border back in our early RV life days. But what we would like to see ourselves doing sometime in the future even if we're not gonna full-time RV down in the USA or snowbird, we thought it'd be really fun to actually plan out, say, 1 month long loops or something like that, where you can follow along with us, and then we can go to, say, all the national parks and hit up all the certain locations on the way. And then after we're done doing that, say, month loop, we can make a little 1 month travel guide for down to Yuma and back. And sort of searchable and relatable adventures you could all do on vacations as well, maybe.
Yeah, getting to the States is something that I actually really want to do. I mean, there's so many national parks down there that I've been dying to see. It was such a tease, like, planning out all the different spots we wanted to go, and then being turned away at the border there. It was a really sad time, but I think in the future we will get back, and someday we'll get to the States. Alright, so next question comes from Frank Myers. He asks, how long have you guys been married? So we've been married for just shy of 3 years now. It'll be 3 years in August. We got married back in August of 2017. And before that, we had actually been dating for 10 years. So we've been together for like 13 years, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, we got married at a little golf course in Kelowna, had a nice view of the lake. It was during forest fire season, but we managed to not have smoke filled in the airs. The day beforehand, we actually seen a big forest fire start up over the hills and big smoke clouds come up, but everything went smooth on wedding day, and we had a nice sunny wedding day out in Kelowna, so nice golf course wedding.
Okay, so the last question we have here is from David Jonkman. He says, has RV life benefited your relationship? So I mean, I'm not gonna lie, living in a small RV for an extended period of time with your significant other isn't always easy, but overall I would say yes. I mean, there has been times where it's been hard, like you're always with each other, you're working together all the time, and
she just hears me talking non-stop on the editing and in real life in a small space.
True. But overall, I would say that yeah.
You have the same interests when you're RVing, you're planning where you want to go, you're making a whole bunch of memories as you're traveling around so much. Even doing YouTube is kind of that, a common hobby slash project you share. It's always something you can relate over and bond over, which I think some relationships maybe you don't always have that kind of central thing that you can talk about and share interests and talk over. So I would say it puts us a lot on the same page on what we have going on in life in terms of that. Anyways there folks, if you made it to this far in the video and enjoyed the Q&A, learned a little about how we RV, learned a little bit about us perhaps, and you enjoyed that, be sure to give the video a like and show some support. We always love seeing the feedback from you guys. Also, if you have any comments, maybe you have a question about us that didn't get answered, feel free to leave it down below. I'm sure at some point in life we'll do another Q&A and we'll check this video's comments for questions to address as well. Also, I know there's been a whole lot of new subscribers lately, so hello and welcome aboard to the journey to all of you out there, and be sure to join the subscribe as well if you are watching the videos and enjoying the content. Still a whole lot more to come at you this summer. And otherwise, we'll see you in the next RV vlog there then, friends. Bye!